Good morning everybody, welcome to another video. Today I'm going to show you how to make index cards, and we're going to make a template for it so we can make hundreds upon hundreds and they will always be the same. So I'm using a cereal box here to get my card template. I'm just making a bad job of cutting it out here. Honestly, when I watch myself cut things out, I think I'm the worst example of how to use scissors. I make it look so awkward and difficult. So if you ever want a tutorial on fussy cutting, don't ask me, because I will probably put you off for life. It's just like my hands do not work the way they're supposed to when I watch videos. Okay, now we've got our card. It can be any card you want. This is just a template. We're not going to be using this to decorate. You're going to figure out what size you want our index cards to be. Now, I like things a little bit smaller than the ones you can buy in the shops. This is kind of my preferred size for things that I put in journals. So I'm kind of going to go with that size. Now, you could use a ruler and a pencil and map out a rectangle exactly to your size. I'm lazy. I go through my stash and I find something the same size that I like, and I'm going to draw around it. I mean, why do it the proper way when you can be lazy and take the quick way? So I'm drawing around my envelope. I'm just kind of trusting the fact that it's completely rectangular. And this will be part one of our tab. Now we're going to draw the little tab, but we're not going to draw it attached. We're going to draw it a little bit above. And we're going to leave a gap between them. And we're going to draw out the shape and size of our tab. Now this is your preference, whether it's a big tab, a small tab, whether it has curved edges. You're just going to make sure you draw it separate to your rectangle. Now, I'm curving the edges on my template here because, as you'll see later, sometimes it's quite difficult to actually get in and use like a corner punch. So if they're on the template curved, it gives us something to cut around with scissors, a guide to round our corner. You don't need to round your corners if you want completely pointy edge index cards, sorry. Okay, so we're going to cut out our little tab, and I don't know why I'm using a knife to do this. I think my knife should be taken away from me, in all honesty. Like, I am amazed that in all the videos I've made so far, I have yet to cut myself with it. But trust me, I've cut myself many times off screen with it. That it's just amazing that I haven't done it on screen. And we're going to cut out our little tab. Now, I'm going to show you here, after I cut this out, that instead of freehanding a tab like I did, if you're a bit more of a perfectionist, then you could also do it the second way, which I'm about to show you. You cut yourself a little perfect rectangle in your desired width and size, like so. I can guarantee that is not straight. And we're just going to cut it down to the size we want our tab. And then you could use your corner punch to give you perfectly rounded ends, or you could use a coin to draw around if you were all that fussed about it being perfect. I never ever go the perfect route. It just sets me up for disappointment. So I always go there. As long as it looks good to me, it's fine. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to mark out our tab space. And now the reason this is separate is so that we can do this. We're going to mark where we want our tab to sit, and we're going to mark that as space number 1. And then we're going to move it halfway along its own length, because look, you could do it that far over, but I think it's too much. And you're going to mark out the sides of where that sits, and that's got space number 2. This is because every tab space will be a new page that you make. So when you make a little bundle of 5 and the tabs are all at different points like this, when you put them all together, you can see all the tabs at the top, and they're like proper index cards. And as you can see, I didn't space it very well. I should have probably started number 1 over a little bit more. Okay, so this is how, don't worry if you're confused right now. I'm going to show you how it works. Well, I'm going to try and show you how it works. I'm not very good at explaining things, so just trust what you're seeing on screen, that it will work out. We're going to cut this out now, and voila, we have the 2 parts of our template. That is all we need, and this will be how we make 1,000,001 index cards with tabs whenever we need them, and they will all be perfectly the same size. And you can make these in multiple sizes. You could have little tiny ones, you could have big huge ones, as long as you've got cereal boxes to draw on. Now I like to write what my templates are. This index card part 1, and then on my little tab I'll put index card part 2, or IC part 2. So I know that these two belong together. Okay, so now we are going to draw around them. I am using cardstock from a colouring book. Back of it is printed with glitter and stuff, and this side is white. It's kind of substantial, so I'm going to be using this to make my index cards. We're going to draw around a rectangle. Even I make drawing around something terrible, and we're going to position our tab in the number 1 spot. Now, as you can see, it's kind of awkward to hold it all, so we're going to use washi tape. And washi tape is repositionable. It'll also keep these little 2 pieces together when our index card template is not in use. So you want to grab yourself a little bit of washi tape or masking tape, something that is easy to peel off so that you can move your tab. And we're going to make card number 1. So as you can see, it's lined up with the edge against number 1. Now the second thing I haven't added here is the second guide that I'm going to show you in a second. We're going to draw around this first. So there is index card number 1 waiting to be cut out. Now index card number 2 that would sit behind this, you move it along to the number 2 position. Now as you can see, I'm kind of guessing how far down my tab was set. So I'm going to draw myself a little guide. I'm going to mark how far down the tab is and draw a line as a secondary guide as to how the tab sits. That means every time you use this, the tabs will all be the same height. So it's like a fail-safe, making perfectly identical cards that all work together. I'm going to draw it around this one. Now ideally I would make all 5 cards to show you the whole set, but I'm only going to do 2 just for the quickness of the video. See, you would put number 3 would be there, number 4 would be there, and number 5 would be there, and all your little set of cards, you could stack them all together and all the tabs would be on show. And we can stick it together like this to keep it and put it aside, and there you go, you have your compact little template. Okay, so we're going to cut this out. I apologise in advance that you're going to have to watch me painstakingly use a ruler and a knife. Some things should just be taken away from me in life, and I think this is one of them. I'm amazed that I've never actually cut myself on camera with these items, because I do it frequently off camera. It's just sod's law that I've never ever cut myself on camera. I think it gives me the confidence to keep using them, to be honest, and I probably shouldn't. Okay, so I'm going to cut off my templates. I mean, look at this. What am I doing? What even is that? That was the worst attempt at cutting. And then we're going to cut around our tabs. And I'm going to make you wonder why I even use scissors, because I'd probably have chewed it and made a neater job of it. Okay. Now, the reason our template was rounded in the places that we want them to be rounded, I'm going to show you in a second. Ones that take 3 hours to cut this really simple shape out. The reason we round our template and give ourselves a guide for curved edges is because, as you can see here, it is not easy to get your punch in most of the places that you might want to round. So giving ourselves that little guide on our original template means that we can cut around the drawn curves and give ourselves a little curvy template, little curvy edges that all match up with all the other cards every time. So, you know, make a good job of your template. Do more to it than I did. Make it precise. Make it a little more, you know, polished. I kind of live for the I've half-assed it and winged it kind of look, because for some reason it always works out for me in the end. Probably because I've done it my whole life. I've just half-assed and winged things. So there, as you see, as you line up the cards, all the tabs are on show. And I mean, you could space them out a bit further than I did. That's totally your preference. However you line up your tabs is up to you, but I like them overlapping a little bit so you see the entirety of them along the top edge, but you're only seeing like half of them. So I was going to ink this whole thing, and then I was like, no, I wanted this to look like an index card. What am I doing? I'm just making it white. I wanted it to look more like a proper card. So I remembered that I had a piece of paper waiting ready for this, which is lined. Now you can use notebook paper just from a regular kids school jotter. I am using this graph paper that I've already tea stained and tried to say what way I want it to go. and I'm kind of liking the other side, so it's getting glued on this side. I'm using my handy dandy trusty UHU glue for this because it's quick, and so far it hasn't peeled apart on anything that I've used it on, so I'll be using this and get that all over. Make sure you get it all the way to the edges. Now you could use double-sided tape, you can use whatever glue you're used to, your Fabri-Tac, your craft glue. You could even use like a gel medium to glue these together. You just want to adhere it really well in whatever is your manner of connecting things. Some people like the Pritt stick glue, some people like the mixed media stick from Tim Holtz, whatever is your preference. So we're going to stick that down, and once it is in place, we return to my favourite job, which is cutting stuff out. So we're going to cut around it. Don't use the knife, put that down. Get a pair of scissors, girl. Damp paper and craft knives are not a good combo, and the UHU glue is very damp, so as you can see I'm struggling. Use this pair of scissors if your glue is still wet, because look at the mess I'm making here. I'm making it look so difficult and it truly wasn't. Okay, yeah, there, the scissors, they finally came out. Okay, so yeah, cut around your little tab template, your little, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. It's 5:30 in the morning. I don't know what possessed me to get up and make a video at 5:30 in the morning. So excuse my inability to word, because half the time I don't even know what I'm saying. It's way too early for me to be wording. So I'm cutting this out. And on that same topic, if you keep seeing my sleeves, that is my onesie. I was crafting in a onesie, keeping it real at 5:30 in the morning. Do you do that? Do you just get out of bed, go straight to your craft desk and be like, I'm going to make myself some index cards at 5:30? That's what I'm going to do. That's my plan. Because that's what I do quite frequently. Okay, now we've got that all glued up. As you can see, it's looking kind of cute, looking kind of vintage and grungy, although the back doesn't match because it's bright white. I'm going to ink up my edges. Now, I've had to learn a little trick with this ink. This is my Distress ink in tea dye. If you watch my previous videos, you'll know this is so juicy. It's the juiciest ink pad I've ever owned in my life. So I have to very gently tickle it with my dauber to get a smattering of ink. So I'm trying to be very careful here. Why it looks like I'm basically just slightly dabbing it, because I really am. It is extremely juicy. I was a little more forceful here, but I think my ink pad is finally starting to settle. The ink was maybe all at the surface or something, and it is starting to sink back to the bottom. But geez, that was one inky pad. If you want to see how inky that was, go and check my other videos. You'll see the day that I first opened it, it was very wet. Okay, so I'm inking everything up here. Now, while I am going to decorate this, I want to take a moment to invite you to our Facebook group. We have a Facebook group. The link is down below for paper crafts. In fact, all crafts. Like, we don't mind what you post in there as long as it's crafty. And we do also have some chatty posts, so come visit us, come join us in the link below. We're trying to build a little friendly community of people that like to help each other out and share more than just our love of junk journaling. Okay, I was trying to figure out how I was going to decorate this here, and I decided, whoa, look at that, by the magic of camera, stamp sets it was. So this is one of the stamp sets that I bought from Amazon. I put everything I buy on Amazon in a link below. There is a little Amazon link. If you click on it, it takes you to my own personal storefront, which is all the paper craft supplies I've bought and used in all of my videos. If you buy them via my links, I actually get a very small commission. So, you know, it's good for me. It's not good for Amazon, but it's good for you guys. And if you want the things, everything's down there. Just scroll my little shop. So I decided I was going for old world day. Don't mind me, I'm just stamping things in the background. As you know, I like my little splashes of tea. I decided I was going to add some numbers, but I didn't have any small enough, so I'm going to use half this stamp. I'm just going to blot the ink to one side of it and then use that on my tab. I'm using the, I think it's Ganache by Stays On. It's my favourite brown. I use it practically every project I make. And then I'm going to use, I think it's Lumberjack Plaid. It's the red that I'm using here. I actually need to buy more inks. I don't have very many colours because I never used to be a stamp person. Like, I had them and I never used them, but then for some reason this year my love of stamps just hit. I'd given away all my ink pads. I had like 24 ink pads and I gave them all away, and then this year decided I wanted to use inks again. So I need to buy some new colours, I think. So I've just stamped this. I feel like this index card, that's pretty much done. Maybe a sticker. Oh yeah, I wanted to show you guys a little trick. Now, I shared this in my Facebook groups, but I haven't shared it on YouTube, so this is why I decided I was going to add a sticker. Now, if like me, you're one of these people that avoid using stickers because you hate the shininess on your projects, this is the moment for you. I am going to use a shiny sticker, like voila. And yes, look how annoying that is. Everything's nice and matte and old, and then we've got this shiny thing here. Well, here is the trick. You're going to use yourself a gel matte medium, or you could use matte gesso, clear matte gesso. That also works. I have gesso and 2 different gel mediums, but this one is my favourite. It's the Pebeo gel matte medium. This is the best one in my opinion. I've used all 3 and this is the one that mattifies. You're going to take yourself a splodge, you're going to take your finger and you're just going to smear it over very gently. You don't want to rub too much, you want to leave a good coating on there. Now make it quite light because you want to leave it to dry, and then do a second coat in the other direction, and trust me, it will mattify your sticker and make it at one with your paper. It's the best trick I ever taught myself. I was going to say ever learned, but I figured it out for myself. So gel matte medium, people. I got it on Amazon. It's also in the links below. And as you can see, if I lined up the cards, that would be a cute little set. Now the second way I'm going to show you is using your template. You can customize it to make up and down index cards like this. All I did was follow the same steps as the sideways and marked out the tabs along the top, so you can use it on both sides and make up and down cards, or horizontal or portrait. And you would only get 3 tabs really along the up and down ones, so less of a set, but you know, you could repeat them. But what do you think? Do you like it? If you like this project, leave me a comment below and I will see you in the next one.